Good morning and welcome to 5 Minute Bible Study. I'm using the King James Bible, the authorized version. I'm on Genesis 1:1. I'll bring you a short Bible study, a little bit less than 5 minutes, maybe a little more than 5 minutes. And I apologize if you see a cat wandering in and out. And just hope that you get something out of this. Genesis 1:1 is in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And I did two previous ones to this. I hope you watch both of them. They're very short. So let's get started with where I left off on the last one, last session. So the second question that begs itself is, how do you know that God exists? There have been lots of arguments in history regarding God's existence. There's everything from Pascal's wager. It goes like this in a shortened way. If I believe in God and he doesn't exist, I won't know because I will cease to exist. If you don't believe in God and he does exist, you're fried. That's kind of Pascal's wager in the short term. There have been arguments from aesthetics, desire, conscience, the moral argument, the ontological argument, and on for thousands of years. But really, the argument for God's existence breaks down to where we live. The most important proof of God's existence is that there is something rather than nothing. And since stuff doesn't create itself, it had to be created. And that's where God comes in. Of course, faith cannot be based on this idea. Faith is based on your experience with him and on the truth of what he said in his book. Not only have I encountered a risen Savior in prayer, Bible reading, answered prayer in the creation and reality around me, but I completely trust his book containing his ministry of reconciling mankind to himself. I have no doubts. God speaks to my heart through his book, changing me without me hearing words in my ear, but working on me from the inside in a special way. You might not find me a credible witness. Unbelievers become adamant, raving even, that as a person of faith, you're a lunatic or weak or small minded. They cannot accept that a perfectly rational scientist, businessman, or scholar of any type could believe in and love a God who has not revealed himself to them. These are things outside of our personal experience with God, a personal experience that no unbeliever can understand or accept unless God himself touches their hearts that suggest or even prove his existence. Let's take something as complex as life. The astronomer Sir Fred Hoyle was born in Yorkshire, England on June 24th, 1915. He was conferred a master's degree from Cambridge in 1939 and then was elected fellow St. John's College, Cambridge, in the same year. He worked his way to become a professor of astrophysics and natural philosophy in 1951. He was a leading contributor in the discovery of how the elements from lithium to iron are synthesized inside stars. Professor N. Chandra Wickramasinghe was born in Colombo, Sri Lanka on January 20th, 1939, studied astrophysics at Cambridge, and was a student of Hoyle's. He received a PhD in 1963, taught at Cambridge. He later became a professor of applied mathematics and astronomy at the University College, Cardiff, Wales. He is an expert in the use of infrared astronomy to study interstellar matter. These are no lightweights, although Rick Ramasinghe has gone a little bonkers in the last few years. But they both came to the logical atheist conclusion that life came from outer space. Why? Because it was impossible for it to have happened by random chance on Earth, not in 15 billion years or 100 billion years. Let me read you a quote published recently by Dr. Wick. Quote, improbability of life. The blueprint for all life, from bacteria to plants to animals, was discovered in the 1950s by Watson and Crick to reside in DNA, in particular in the precise arrangements of the nucleotides A, G, T, C that effectively code for proteins that in turn control cell function. In a series of books and articles published in collaboration with the late Sir Fred Hoyle, I have argued that highly specific arrangements needed for the operation of living cells cannot be understood as arising from random processes. For the simplest bacterium, Mycoplasma genitalium, the probability that its few hundred genes will be discovered by random shuffling of their amino acid components gives a figure of 1 in 10 to the 1,000th power or smaller. Hoyle and I have compared such horrendous improbabilities to the odds against a tornado blowing through a junkyard leading to a self-assembly of a Boeing 707 airplane. 1 in 10 to the 1,000th? These types of scientists estimate there is only 10 to the 80th power number of atoms in the universe. Saying that life came about by random processes is like me saying I'm getting handsomer, wealthier, and smarter as I get older. You would just look at me and go, "What? I'm joking, right?" But scientists who believe in spontaneous generation, I mean abiogenesis or life by accident, are serious. So that the proof that God exists, step one, life could not have happened on earth by chance. It's not mathematically conceivable, not by any stretch of your Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, Star Trek, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Doctor Who imagination. But what about it coming from somewhere else? That's called panspermia. And that's where Dr. Wick believes. That's what he believes in. Well, NASA scientists Peter D. Ward and Donald Brownlee, in their book, Rare Earth, Why Complex Life is Uncommon in the Universe, explain that it's also highly unlikely that life came from somewhere else, as this planet, located where it is the best and most likely place for life to exist. And in fact, probably could not exist anywhere else. So, proof that God exists, step two. Life could not have happened anywhere but on Earth, but it couldn't happen here by chance. So something else, or someone else rather, must be happening than mere material processes randomly achieved. Or if you don't like my use of the word random, then how about without purpose or intent by accident? Who could it be that's responsible for this? We'll discuss that next time on my next 5-minute Bible study. Thank you and have a great day.